like hearing the good words of what that is. So that's exciting. So,
Thanks, John.
Anyway,
That's what I say.
so with that, I make a motion that we approve the calendar for next year.
Okay. Let's have a roll call vote to approve, if you believe, don't we, Frank?
Aye.
Maxwell, aye.
Burkeville, aye.
Linden and I.
Different aye. Okay, motion passes, and obviously we approved it, so thanks, everyone. Jill, let's talk about the bills.
Thank you. This evening I have $839,228 worth of bills presented for approval for payment. As I highlighted, include a payment to Genesis Outpatient Rehabilitation Services. That's for $5,700 and is a partial payment for this school year's athletic training services. There's a payment to Pro Circular for $20,000 for cybersecurity penetration testing. That's the second phase of our security testing we were doing. And then a payment to Wamco Athletics for $13,800 for new basketball hoops in the high school auxiliary gym. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Any questions for Jill?
We're gonna hear a why update on money or no, where are we, how are we doing on that?
I can provide one at the next meeting if you would like.
That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I move we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Any other comments? Okay, thank you, Jill. The committee reports, Health Insurance Committee report. And Jill, you're gonna talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a couple brief comments. We did have a health insurance committee meeting January 12th. At that meeting, we went over historical financial information where we're at to date. We did get some preliminary renewal information from True North. Right now, that's looking pretty high. And then we received a presentation from Med1, a new pharmacy benefits manager. And actually, we have another agenda item for that here in a couple minutes. So really, those are just the highlights of the Health Insurance
Yes.
Committee meeting, unless you have any specific questions for me.
Any questions? Comments? Okay. Now we'll move the 2021 school district audit up over the report update, John, the report. So Jill and Sarah Bonsack's here to talk about our good audit.
So earlier this evening before our board meeting, the finance committee meeting, we did meet and go over the audit results from June 30th, 2021 briefly. And then we brought Sarah just to give a few comments to the full board, and we can answer any questions you might have.
Okay, Sarah, yeah, go ahead.
Please just stand up, or whatever makes you happy.
Right.
I'll stay.
I was going to briefly go through the required communications from your auditors to you, the Board of Education. This year, when we came out to do the audit, we did 3 different types of audit. The first one was looking at your financial statements. We have audited the numbers and believe that they are fairly presented, and have given you an unmodified opinion, which is the highest form of opinion that you can receive. And then we also do a government auditing standards audit, and the purpose of that is twofold. One is to look at your compliance with laws and regulations, and the other is to look at your internal control system and to make sure that it's functioning as designed. And I mentioned at the earlier committee meeting, there was a time in the district when there were several findings regarding your internal control system, and your staff has worked really hard over the last several years. And at this point in time, you have no findings in regard to internal control. So a very clean report. And then the last type of audit that we do is your federal single audit. This year, the district expended $3.3 million of federal awards. We tested your child nutrition cluster, which made up about $1.9 million of that funding, and we had no findings. So again, a very clean report this year.
Thank you. Any questions for Sarah?
I have more of a comment than a question. I want to thank Jill and the whole North Scott team and everybody else. Year after year, unmodified, over and over again, and we are we're, as a board and as a district, we are so blessed to have Jill and her team and everything else to make that possible and make that happen. So I want to say thank you to Jill. Great job. Thank you to all your team. And I know it's not just you. I know it's all sorts of others that go into it, but thank you very much from all the people. And thank you, Sarah, for doing it.
Right. Thanks, Sarah, for being here. And yes, John, good words, because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and Jill's very humble, but we all know we're in good hands with you and your team. Sarah, you can leave.
You can also stay if you'd like.
You mind? Yeah, it's up to you. I wanted to give you that. Thank you.
So with that, I make a motion,
Yeah,
we approve the 2020-2021 school district audit.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Joe. Now let's go to the John Glenn report.
All right, so we wanted to take this opportunity tonight to just kind of share with the board some of the awesome work that our teachers are engaging in. A quote up here, no matter how good you get, you can always get better, and that's the exciting part. So our team is continuing to look at the practices that we are engaging in, the results that we're seeing in student achievement. We're trying to find areas that we know that we need to improve in. We're engaging in that learning. And so that's what we wanted to share with you tonight, is just a snippet of something that these hardworking people have all engaged in. So tonight's presentation specifically is about our pre-K through 3 early literacy instruction. And so our instructional coach, Kelsey Bauer, and our first grade teacher, Mrs. Harmson, Shelley Harmson, are going to be presenting and sharing for you.
So tonight we wanted to, like Erin said, talk about the work that we've done with early literacy and professional learning. The purpose of our professional learning, we looked at our data and we knew that we really wanted to improve student learning in phonics to support the development of the readers and writers. So that was really our biggest intended outcome. We really wanted to impact student learning. In order to do that, we wanted to really, in our professional learning, help us better understand critical components to phonics instruction. We wanted to, not just in the district, but also at John Glenn, align our pre-K through 3rd grade phonics instruction to best practices. And we were hoping all of those things would help us implement high quality instruction and student learning. So tonight we're going to look at 3 things. 2 of those things you might have already heard. We're going to talk just a little bit about our curriculum, talk about what we've engaged in as far as our professional learning this year. And then Shelley is going to really dig into the bolded area, which is the implementation of phonics learning. We want to show you what it looks like in our classrooms. So really going over our curriculum. In the summer of 2018, we knew as a district, all the elementary schools, we needed to align our curriculum to ensure we had a guaranteed viable curriculum. I know you guys have heard about that a lot. And so we created a pre-K through 3 scope and sequence for phonics. And we wanted to do that because we wanted to get clarity on what we were teaching. We wanted to ensure that no matter if you went to Armstrong or Shepherd or Glenn, we all were on the same page as far as what we were teaching for phonics. We wanted to ensure we were aligning to the Iowa core standards. And one thing that's really important with a scope and sequence is that we are building off subsequent grade levels. We didn't want to have any holes in instruction, and we also didn't want to have lots of repetition in instruction. Mm-hmm. We wanted to ensure that we had a focus on transfer to reading and writing, because you can teach a lot about phonics and isolation, but we really wanted to promote transfer to reading and writing. So we've developed our curriculum to really hone in and ensure that our students are getting what they want in isolation, and also really we wanted to impact that reading and writing. So here's just some examples.
phonics scope and sequence has every single trimester and exactly what we're teaching at each grade level. I know this might look like French to you, but for teachers, we have clarity on exactly what this looks like. In the third trimester, we really provide opportunities for teachers to review instruction to ensure students really master the phonics. So that's a pre-K, that's a kindergarten scope and sequence. And then first grade scope and sequence, again, we have clarity on exactly what's being taught every single trimester. And it doesn't matter which building you're in, we're really looking for common topics to be taught or common skills. And then second grade as well too. So we're really proud that we're have a good scope and sequence, that teachers know what's being taught. We're in refinement phase right now, so teachers are field testing it, and we're really working on refining it. So every summer we come back and say, are there any tweaks or any changes that we need to do? So we're just really in that refinement phase right now. So we're looking at professional learning at Glenn at the beginning of the year. As we were setting goals, we were looking at our data, not just on our assessment wall, but our outside FAST assessment. And so we set some goals as a building of what we wanted to work on. And phonics was one of those goals. And that was our whole building level goal, but then each grade level set their own goals in their professional learning communities. And you can see in every grade, pre-K through second grade, they focused on reading instruction, and then third grade focused on writing instruction. So they're getting some grade level time to really hone in on reading and writing. Through those PLC meetings and district level professional learning, we did a lot of book studies. We really wanted to give teachers time for learning, research, collaboration of common texts that are really best practices and current research out there, because we wanted to ensure what we were doing is reflective of best practice. Shelley's a huge fan of Blevins. This is if you look at her book, it's like so we say we've done lots of learning and research. That is a testament to that. So, and here are some other texts we've been looking at, not just within the past 3 years, but we've had these common texts around when partnerships and comprehensive literacy came about almost 10 years ago. Another layer to this is we can have our teachers doing lots of reading and discussion and research, but an important part of learning is teachers need to see what it looks like in action and implementation. So this year we've spent a lot of time providing teachers with lots of videos so they can observe lessons, we can discuss what the implementation does look like, and then teachers are doing their own action planning. I saw this in this video, and so I can do this differently in my classroom. Three coaches, Diane Wilgang, Katie Burbridge, and Elise Mancuso, or kids now, they have started an early childhood learning network where they're putting out videos every week to show teachers again and provide examples of what best practices look like in phonics instruction. So Shelley's going to go ahead and take the implementation.
So what does that look like in our classroom? So this is going to kind of show what our workshop model looks like in the elementary, in the primary part. So we do an explicit phonics instruction word work time. That will be this time. But here are other workshops that we do throughout the day, not including that. But there is a time that is dedicated for phonics and word work.
And we always laugh because I always say like 15, 20 minutes, but Shelley,
30-ish is fine too.
it's all-ish.
It just depends on, we gotta meet them where they are, right? Okay, so best practices that we are really working on hard this year and over the past couple of years, and we'll continue to work over learning and learning for mastery. So that constant repetition, reviewing in your grade level so that they can solidify it, hear it, write it, read it, decode it, are going to be key components in the lesson plans that we do. Explicit teaching and isolation, which is why we moved away from just teaching it in the reading block. They do, kids, the data shows and the research shows that kids do need explicit teaching of those phonics skills and phonemic awareness. And then of course we want it to transfer to their reading and writing, so that's why we do take it into the other workshops. So this would be a sample of a lesson plan that you might see in a primary classroom, pre-K through 3.
And we'll start the word review part. This is just quick review, and you're gonna see some examples of this. This is quick review of known things, just to get them thinking. Practice, this should be a quick time. It says 5 minutes, it may or may not be. That, it gets faster and faster. And you go to the next one. The next one is they hear it, and this is really, really crucial in the early childhood, even up into second grade, but especially pre-K, K1. This is the hear it part, that phonemic awareness. There are no word cards. Usually this is, can you hear? What can you hear the sounds? Can you segment the sounds? What are you hearing in the word? Which is a crucial building block for reading. The next part is the decode it. We highlighted 2, decode it and read it, because we want to give them opportunities to decode the skill that is being taught and practice that in isolation. But the end goal is to really practice that skill in their read it in an actual text, not just in isolation. So they can put all of their reading things together. And then of course, spell it is where they're making words. It could be sight words, it could be the skill you're working on, say short A, where they're manipulating letters, they maybe are I'm dictating and they're writing. And this would look different in all grade levels, but these would be an appropriate sequence of activities for K3.
And one thing that you'll notice is that, for example, this planner is just for Monday. So these are the components that you would expect to see present in every word work lesson, every day, Monday through Friday. And oftentimes the teachers kind of do this planning, though they're responsive in the moment, but they also are able to plan, just thinking about what the students are going to learn this week so that they can kind of cycle the different components in as the students are picking up on the skills.
And it is important to note that you need to do all 5 pieces to get to transfer. So this is what one person's lesson plan might look like, handwritten. This is Monday, Tuesday, and it would go through the week, and so many different activities. So this probably looks like French to you or Greek. Haggerty, so these teachers would know what they're doing, what that means. Very quick. So many opportunities and different things they can do to keep it interesting. So. And the next one is actually mine. I type it out because my handwriting is horrible, which is horrible for a first grade teacher, but it is what it is. So you can just kind of see my focus for the weekend. Mine is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What we're doing, and then what we're doing for each part of that planner, that lesson plan. I just do it this way instead of that way.
And the skill and focus for the weeks and word study is that where the scope and sequence comes into play. So that's where we're taking what we know is the agreed upon tights for the district, that this is what we're guaranteeing our students to learn at each grade level. That's when those get pulled in. That's how they start to define their skills.
The handwritten lesson plan was a pre-K lesson, and this is Shelley's first grade lesson. So whether you're in pre-K, kindergarten, first, second, third grade, there's still similar components that we're all doing. It just looks different depending on those.
And you can handwrite it at any grade.
What's that?
You can handwrite it at any one.
You
Oh,
can-
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's just whatever, however the teacher wants to do it, and I need to type it so I can read it.
And so, again, like the loose, the tight is all of those components should be included in every lesson that we see happening in word work every day, but it's loose how the teacher plans it.
Right, and part of the training within this book and in the books that we've been reading this year will tell you what activities are appropriate by grade level for each component. So you are doing appropriate things for your class, and you're helping to, because you are doing a spiral. And a big part of that is that review, and you're reviewing not only here, but in these other parts, like I do blending lines, which is one of the business. And but you're reviewing back those skills until it's solidified. You're just, that review and that what we're teaching is super crucial for the little ones.
You let that book out of your hands.
Not a lot. It's been on my desk for a week. I do love
It
it.
looks like
I
it.
got to see him in person. He's really funny also.
Exactly.
So this is phonics in action. This is the review part. This is quick. This is, they're going to be doing some just word and letter cards. So you can hit go.
First section of the planner.
We don't have as many today, but we want to go. They are mixed up because some of them are. Here we go.
E
have as many today, but we want to go. They are mixed up because some of them are.
Okay, so the next part is here. So this is the phonemic awareness piece. So they are gonna we were working on R blends, which are really tricky for little ones to hear that R blend. So this is the hearing part.
In front of it. Got it. Id, put a ooh in front of it. Put a in front of it. Can't read. All right, you ready?
Sorry, that wasn't the R blends, that was just the R blends are next. So the R blends would be the decoding part.
In front of it. Got it. Id, put a ooh.
This decode it.
Okay. Ra, tra. Hey, guys, up here. Ra, ra. Good. Ra, ra. Ba, ra. This one. Da, ra, ra, ra. Like dragon. Now that's a trickster one because we almost say it like J, but it's not a J. It's da, da, ra. When we put it with the R, it sounds a little confusing, doesn't it? Let's practice it. Drop, drop, drip, dragon, drain, drool, drum. All right, next up. On your desk, you have your word cards for today. Yeah? Instead of doing our blending lines, you are going to get these out. And you are going to blend these words. And then I want you to sort them any way you can. Let's do some together first. Are you ready? Let's start here. Can you see it? Do you see? Br, ick, brick. I like how you put it back together.
Okay, so that would just be, they would then go off and we're gonna decode these on their own while I'm circulating. So that would be a little bit longer than the first two. And then the next piece is the
Okay.
oh, reread it. So, okay, so this is where they're gonna go off.
Okay, got your book? Anybody still need a partner? Share with her. Share with her. Okay, got your book?
So in theory, that would be the longest piece. And then they might do that again later. So it's not just in isolation. We do teach it in isolation, and that was my word lesson. But then when we go into readers workshop and writers workshop, then we would take and fine tune it for each individual group's needs. So if I'm like right now working on long eye, but I still have kids that need to work on digraphs, that might be where we are. Or we might be working on some sight word skills that maybe these kids aren't working on. So that is the opportunity to practice what we're doing, but also to work on some skills where some kids might be needing something else in both places, and to take it to transfer. So that's kind of the layout of our conversation.
Yeah, and so really what we're really, again, hoping to go for is really improving student learning. So we're gonna continue looking at our data, continue looking at the improvement that students are making, and we are hoping to see shifts in our students, so our students can be fluent readers and writers that comprehend at high levels. Any questions or?
Very good.
I have just a comment. I think you're making it interesting and making it fun for them, and I applaud what you're doing, and it's like I kind of want to come and
You sure
be
can.
part of it. So
Thank you, they're pretty sweet.
nice job.
Thank you.
That, it seems like those kids are having a lot of fun and learning. And
And that's the tricky part, because you kind
Yeah.
of do something that maybe is a little bit boring, and you try to have some different things to move it around. So they're moving, I'm moving, and it's still engaging and changing it. So thank you.
So Shelley, you have, your PLCs include John Glenn teachers, but then you also work with other first grade teachers. teachers as well, right? And you do that on like PD days and stuff that you're
So
able.
we will do that on PD days for district. We are doing a book study, one of the book studies this year we've been working on. But also when I work with Kristen Peason from Grissom, we will go back and look at these planners and how are you doing this and things like that. And then within our building PD, when we have been working on the same book study and working on that phonics piece, we'll watch each other, we'll record and watch each other and see what we notice. So it's not just me in isolation. And
Yeah.
we're getting
I'm glad that you have the chance to talk to others too, that helps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to the professional learning. We want give teachers a lot of time to process the new information and really implement the new learning, so.
And it's a lot, because I think I started this like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still, like, I'm still learning more and picking up more, and then that vertical alignment piece will be part of what we do as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all you're doing, Kelsey, to make a difference too. And Shawty, you're an awesome teacher. I knew that already, but this is proof. This is proof. Excellent job. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Thanks for being here late tonight and staying all day.
Thank you for hosting.
Thanks for all what you're doing.
We are going to sneak away.
Go home.
Yeah, very good job. Oh, man.
Early this morning.
Okay. Now, let's go to new business, and we'll talk about Med 1 recommendation, and that you should Jill. Jill.
So I had mentioned earlier that we invited Med 1 to our health insurance committee meeting that we recently had for a pharmacy benefit solution. Insurance costs just keep going up and up. In Med 1, so the committee's been researching what can we do for some savings for our health insurance fund that is, kind to our users, right? Med 1 is actually offering us a guaranteed savings of $100,000 if we would switch to them. We really liked their resources that they offered. We've learned that our consumers, our employees are willing to do the work to make good choices, and they give us a tool so the individual user can go out and cost the benefit as well. So we're hoping maybe we'd even have a little bit more savings than what they've guaranteed us by being good consumers. We looked at their customer service platform that they offer, their account management. We talked about implementation, and really the Health Insurance Committee was very pleased with Med 1. So this evening, we're asking for board approval for us to move from MedTrack or XLR, they had a couple different names, to Med 1 for our next planned benefit year, which would be April 1st.
Any questions for Jill?
How do you feel the transition's gonna go? Because it always seems like you always have that bump in the road when you make that type of transition. Med 1 is gonna have to be the one that's gonna have to help you through that bump, so.
We talked to them about that, felt comfortable with what they said. They have other customers that use Wellmark and Merge benefits as well. So getting the data shouldn't be difficult. Really, all the user needs to know, hopefully, right, the plan is that you are going to get a new card. Instead of having your MedTrack card, you're going to have a Med 1 card, and you'll have to provide that to the pharmacy so they can update your information. But we're hoping that it will be seamless. But it's better than charging the user more money, right? So we're gonna see how this goes. It sounds good though.
Jill, are they out of Des Moines? Where are they out of?
Dubuque,
Dubuque,
so relatively close, yeah.
closer.
When will this take place?
Well, once we let them know that we're willing to do this, we'll fine tune the timeline, right, for the implementation of the transition. But our new plan year starts April 1st, so April 1st.
Good questions. Molly, you're on the committee. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, Frank, you were asking where they're from. It's some affiliation or the folks that are also party drug.
Okay.
So, I think, like you said, Jill, the customer service, you get, real pharmacy techs on the phone. They do, if there's issues with a medicine or whatever, their folks will call your doctors for re-ups and those sort of things. I think their customer service, and that's, I've talked to others who have them that are extremely pleased with them as well. So I think it's the tool that they're offering too. Jill, you alluded that to a little bit. They give us a little demo. You could basically type in what prescription you were given or whatever within a 10-mile radius, and you can see the cost. And one was, Northscott Pharmacy was actually the cheapest for $2 and something, and Hy-Vee or Walgreens was $15. So as it, it doesn't seem that, it's $2.15, but if everybody had that same thing for prescriptions, there's a significant savings when you put the power of that in your own, in the consumer hands, because it is your plan and our plan, right? So we've been asking for that tool for
Couple
at
years.
least 2 years from the other. So that was pretty exciting to see that prescription locator, pharmacy locator, whatever they call it. But yeah, I think it's
Service.
Sounds like a wonderful thing.
Teresa, you're on it. Is there anything you'd like to?
No, I think that, they've been working hard to try to make us happy, so hopefully this will be a good solution.
Well, the courting phase is always a
True.
good time.
True.
they fill some of the specialties out of their own
Oh.
pharmacy. So I guess when you own a pharmacy too, with that, and you can fill your own, that's another one of the benefits as well. So
Did we talk to some other people that use them as a vendor?
We have gotten some feedback, just word of mouth.
Yeah.
People that use it.
Well, it sounds like it's good for our people
Yes.
and it's good for our pocketbook. So
Right.
with that, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you for the report, Jill. Okay, let's move on to the Bennett Building Maintenance Shared Agreement. Shane, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so this is really the same agreement that we had last year with Bennett, where we pay 80% of Scott's salary, and they'll reimburse us for 20%. And we do get sharing dollars because we're doing that, which I think it is 4 FTE, which is a good opportunity for both Bennett and for us.
Yeah, it is a good.
When I know we're approving it, but what's the calendar year of that?
I think it's the same as our current contract in by July 1st.
This one is for the 22-23 school year.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a new.
July 1st.
Any other questions
Wow,
that
we're
anyone
on
has?
22-23 school year.
I know.
It's been a real positive thing.
Yeah, it has worked out very well.
I'm sure they really enjoy it.
They do.
It's helped us and really helped them.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, superintendent's report, but we have Shane here again for open enrollment deadline. Would you like to talk about that?
So March 31st, of course, is open enrollment deadline for most school districts coming to us, right? Or us going to some other school districts. Except for this year, Davenport had it open throughout the year. But their closing date for this year will actually be March 1st, sorry. And then it actually the same date for the next year. So now they're on the same cycle as everybody else as well.
Okay.
But March 1st is the deadline for them for this year and for every district going into the future.
Seems like it'll make it easier to plan.
Yes,
A
absolutely.
lot easier to plan,
Yeah,
a lot
Tracy.
easier to, I think that's a good thing. It is what it is, but having it be March 1st.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Shane.
Legislative update, really, Joe wanted me to make sure to remind you, February 1st, Day on the Hill. We're taking a group of parents, community members, board members to that as well. I know he's looking forward to that time. I think we got some time with some certain people, maybe the governor involved in there, so I'm excited about that. Our COVID update, some good news. Our numbers are going down from last week, which was good. And same with our sickness. Our sickness percentages have been going down. So that's a good
That is
knock on wood where we are with
It's
that.
good to hear.
I did want to add one more thing. We just found out today, Katie let me know, we talked about that transition counselor that had that grant opportunity. We got it. We're one of 7 schools.
Great.
to get that. And
Thank you.
we get some sharing dollars similarly to the maintenance.
Great.
So we're excited about that.
Super. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, any comments from any board members?
On the back, there's the upcoming board meetings.
Anything else? Okay, no closed session as we said, so I'll take one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, get it in. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I don't think we'll have that. So thank you for coming out tonight, everyone, and stay warm.
Good job.
Y'all for glass.
Yes.
And it's a board meeting of Valentine's Day.
And to see it
Yeah,
happening.
Yeah, that's my.
I remember the constants for
Yeah,
my
that's
kids
it.
learning